Welcome back, guys. I'm going to share with you the shock option I'm going to run this weekend at Kent round 4. So I've got the IF485 shock set here. I'm going to run that with the IF485 shock stay, and the spring for that will be IF485 MS. I'm going to run it with the 1.38 hole piston because I've got those in my other shocks as well, so I just want to just sort of see what the difference is in feeling with the longer shock and the higher shock stay. So if I keep the same pistons and same oil, I should hopefully sort of feel the difference there. So yeah, I'm going to rebuild these shortly, get that ready for the weekend. Okay, so let's unpack all the bits. I'll start with the plastic. Let's cut these shock ends off. Careful with the knife here. Let's just cut away these bits of plastic. Okay, what we're going to do here is just chop these bits a little bit wider, so it makes it easier to put them on when it comes to that stage. Just gives a bit more room. Just got to be careful with your fingers on your knife. I'm going to cut these areas here as well. If you can see that. I'll shave over these as well. The pointy bits of these, we just cut them over so they're not pointed. And so obviously I've showed you with those two. You could do the same with the other. Same with the other two there. I won't show you those because it takes up time. So once I've done those, I'll get on to the next stage. You're going to end up with your plastic parts looking a bit like this. Hopefully you can see that. So you've got a bit of a big gap here, so when you're applying those, when you're putting the springs on, that will help quite a lot. It won't rip the shot boots, etc. So you've got that, two of them, and then we just cut the pointy bit off there so it's not such a sharp edge. This piece here, so again it doesn't rip over the shot boot. Same with that one. Okay, so I'm going to start with a bit of oil on these O-rings. So basically these O-rings go into these. Just a drip. And they just basically go into here. So once they're in there, just wind them on. Sometimes a bit fiddly with the oil. That goes in quite easy. Make sure it's going onto the thread properly. So there's one mine all the way to the top. That's that one. That one. So next I would just oil these a little bit. So you're going to go O-ring. Plastic white spacer. Another O-ring. And then you've got the little black cap just to sit in the top there. And just gently make sure that's seated. And you're going to pop your clip. Just rest that in there, and then slowly run your finger around until it pops in. So, and same again with this. So that's that prepared. Actually got a spare clip in there. And as I said before, we're going to use the different piston, so the 1.485 1.38 hole piston. So that's part number IF485 MS. So that's the ones I'm going to use for these. So you're going to need your piston. Another thing I'm going to put into these shocks as well is this part number here. So it's IF485 MS. I'm going to take the 2mm spacer out of these and put them onto the shock shaft. I'll show you what we do there. Again, this all comes from learning from Mike Craddock. It's a good tip. Stop your shocks getting stuck at the bottom position. So yeah, we're going to take the 2mm ones off there. This is the end ones here. Just chop off any of the excess plastic. There we go. I'll save those ones for another shock at some point. Just have to double check myself there and make sure I put the washer on the right side of this piston. So what we do here, just to make it easier to put these shock ends on here, you don't need to use pliers. Again, this has been learnt from Mike Craddock. Do not need to use shock pliers or anything to hold these shock shafts. What you'll do is just pop the lock nut on to there, and then you can start to work that on to your shock end. It takes a while to get going because it needs to bite into the plastic. So you try and make sure it's going as straight as possible. I'm going to use that's typical, that tool. I won't be able to do it this time because I've got another tool with me. It's not too difficult to do just by hand, but so once that's locked and it's going in there, obviously you're using this nut here to tighten this, so you are going to go tighten that in. Now you just want to go up to the top of the first thread, the last thread here, so you don't go all the way in. Stops the this part here crushing out and crushing the ball inside here. So have a nice free movement there. Got sort of oily fingers from the oil. So we're just going to go into the last thread, which is about there. Okay, and then this is the trick. It should, because you've not locked that nut down tight, that nut just come comes undone there quite easily. So there you are. You've got your shock shaft on without the use of any pliers on the shaft itself, so that keeps those good. Do the same again. Okay, so once you've got both shock shafts onto here, you're ready to push these through into the shock body. So what we're going to do is drop a tiny bit of oil in there. Just get that around the bottom of that, where the O-rings are sitting in the bottom. Just let them dribble down. And also just a touch on here, just to protect this a bit as it's sliding in through those O-rings. And then we're going to pop this on, I'll show you in a second. So this is going to go in here, nice and gently. Just slide it backwards and forward a bit. You can see, I don't know, you probably can't see on the video, but the oil's just seeped around. That should hopefully protect that. And what we're going to do is pop this plastic 2mm spacer over the top here. Just gently here with this, careful, just let that go across the top of the shaft, pop that down. Then you've got your metal spacer, you've got your shock piston, so you're going to give it a little oil. Stick your fingers. So it's going to go in there. Kind of keep pushing this on so it's on nice. And then your nut. Which, just roll it down until it starts to bite. As it's getting tight, once it's kind of biting tight, a quarter turn basically, and then that's it. That's up tight enough. So that's the first shock there. And just drop a bit of oil in there just to work that round. So there you go, that's your first shock. You do the same again with the second. Okay, once I've got both of those shock bodies done and they're on, you've got the balls to put into the shock ends. What I normally do with that is just pop the ball in there. It's quite simple. It's a little bit fiddly if you've got slippery hands with the oil. Just pop the ball in there so it's roughly lined up. Pair of pliers, and then pop. It just pops in. Just make sure it's in properly and loose. And that's it. That's that one. Just pop these caps on to stop the oil dripping out while they're on their sides here. So that's that already. The other thing I'm putting into my shock as well is the diaphragm, the slightly bigger diaphragms, because I've run these in the other shocks as well for the bumpy tracks. So again, because I want to do a comparison between the long shocks and the normal standard shock setup, I kind of want to use the same extra bits that I've put into my shocks for previous builds. So the part number for that is IF485 MS. You get 4 in there, but obviously you're going to only need 2 for the purpose of these. So take those, keep the other 2, keep all the extra ones in there for another time. Keep the surface clean. So yeah, with this we've got again a bit of oil. Just massage. This is the shock oil I'm actually going to be using as well, 650. So we use the same oil that I'm using to put into the shocks. Massage that into there. And that's going to sit inside here. And a little bit more oil. So it just clips in. Good. That's one. And do the same with the other. Okay, so there's one other thing I like to do as well, and that's to use some silicone to pop these caps in here, so they basically just don't move around, so that'll just stay in there a bit easier. So quite tight, slippery fingers with the oil. Get this off now. There we go. I've not used this for a while. So what I'll do, be careful with this, it gets everywhere. I tend to just squeeze a teeny bit out and maybe not use the top level there, so it's a bit dried. So get rid of that. And squeeze the next bit out. So I get a bit of that on my tool, and then this is where it's really fiddly, but try and get that around the plastic here. It's a little bit messy. You can clean it up once you've put it on. So that's enough. And what you could do is pop that into here. So you want to be careful not to get this silicone everywhere. That's it. So that pushes in. Make sure it's all the way in. Make sure you don't get any silicone inside there either. So that's it. Once that's in, that sets. That'll set nicely. I'll stop them moving around. So again, do the same with the next one. So there you go. That's your shocks prepped, ready for your oil and your springs to be put on. So I'll do that next bit a little bit later. When I know what oil I'm going to use. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be using this 650 for this weekend, looking at the weather forecast, but that could change last minute, so I'm going to leave these probably for another day before I finish them off. But that's how I prep these up, ready for using on the car. Next up, we've got to rebuild this engine. I've got some parts and bits arrived today, so I'm going to get that back together. I'm probably not going to film that, to be honest, because there's a really good video on our channel that Mike Craddock did of the maintenance side of your engine. So just click onto that. Maybe I'll probably put the link in to the description somewhere, so you can link across to that if you haven't already seen it. I think most people have by now. But yeah, so I'll focus on doing what I need to do with that, I think, and let you watch the other video.